Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make my remarks very brief, and to begin with, I'm in full agreement with the representatives from Kenya who spoke on behalf of the larger African continent. And I think the technical reporters have highlighted three particular areas that need to be accounted for in terms of adaptation and mitigation, particularly in relation to the developing countries. The need to focus on the energy sector, food security, health and water. So as we pursue common objectives of trying to meet the targets, we also need to understand that differentiated approach, because we are in different situations in terms of our national development objectives. I represent Somalia, but Somalia is in the Horn of Africa, the larger African continent, where 600 million people don't have access to electricity and hundreds of millions are subject to poverty. Therefore, I think any new model should first, to begin with, be totally different from the previous one, in which we could not meet the pledges that were made in the past, and it should be one that incorporates the particular needs of least developed countries. In Somalia, as we speak now, half of the Somali population are living under drought, 7.2 million. We are subject to floods as well as droughts. So we need to have a very specific interventions. And the NDC, our national determinant quota is at $55 billion for the coming decade. And because Somalia is undergoing through in the last 4 or 5 years, we have undertaken SMP programs, and we are at an extended credit facility now, where we intend to reach the final completion point for a HIPIC initiative completion point, which means we are not in a position to seek loans. So to answer the question, what are the instruments that can be useful for financing climate change? Countries like Somalia cannot seek loans. Therefore, we're proposing that any new instruments must heavily focus on grants, and we also must encourage bilateral development banks, multilateral development banks to intervene and invest more in climate initiatives, as they have stated that they have started in different countries. Finally, there must be a common approach in terms of both, as you can see in the documents, African countries are only able to contribute up to 2 to 3% of their GDP to their plans, which means there is a need to find global financial mechanisms that would be different from the past, would be transparent, accessible, and implementable in a seamless manner, because the consequences of climate change are more profound in our part of the world, and we have very limited resources to combat this challenge.